talk about instead the Georgia Senate runoff that will happen on Tuesday, December 6th. And the runoff between Senator Raphael Warnock and Herschel Walker, because the general election was too close to call, they will have to do the runoff on Tuesday, December 6th. And it got me thinking in this whole election mentality about voting and about voting turnout and people complaining about low voter turnout. And it got me thinking about the voting age and the voting age being 18. So in researching that, it was actually the 26th Amendment from back in the 70s that lowered the voting age from 21 to 18. And as recently as February of 2021, there was a congresswoman out of New York who suggested lowering the voting age from 18 to 16. And all of this got my brain spinning about why is this law the way that it is? It seems so arbitrary that it was 21, and it seems sort of arbitrary that it's 18. I understand the logic in lowering the voting age to open up more citizens to that opportunity to express their opinion. And if that's the goal, why not lower it as the Congresswoman Grace Meng out of New York suggested lowering it to 16. So we have even more voters. Why pick this particular age? So what do you think about that? Should the voting age stay 18? Or maybe you're of the other opinion. Maybe it should go back up to 21. Maybe it should go down to 16. What are your thoughts? 877 943 9673. 877 943 9673. Yeah, it was one of those topics that just hit me where I realized there's really no rhyme or reason to why the voting age is set at this particular age, 18. There's nothing magical when you go from 17 years, 364 days to 18 years of age. So what about that? If you have an opinion, maybe you see a rationale or a logic behind someone being able to cast a ballot at 18, not at 17. It reminds me of the old show Family Ties, where you have the character portrayed by Michael J. Fox, Alex P. Keaton, who famously got a fake ID so that he could vote early. And then you have this movement now to lower the voting age even lower to include a younger generation who may be more enthusiastic. The statistics tell us a lot of people don't take up that opportunity to express their opinion and their right to vote. So maybe we should lower the age to give a younger generation an opportunity to participate in the democracy that so many are choosing to waive that opportunity. So 877 943 9673, 877 943 9673. You can give us a call now. We're live and local. Happy to help any way we can. I'm Attorney Patrick Smith, and this is the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. And while we're getting the calls queued up, let me give out the office number a little early today. I always tend to give it out later in the show, so let me give it out here at the top of the show. The office number, if you want to be part of our appointments for the week, you can feel free to call the office staff. They are available Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. And you can reach the office at 877-754-6764. It's the one number scheduled at any of our office locations, be it in the Claremont location, over in Clearwater, where I was yesterday, or down in Sun City, Sarasota area. One office number, easy for you to reach out to get scheduled. 877-754-6764. That toll-free office number to schedule your complimentary consultation with me, Attorney Patrick Smith. 877-754-6764. But today we're talking about all things related to voting rights and whether or not the voting age should remain 18, go back up to 21 like it was before the 26th Amendment to the Constitution, maybe go down to 16, maybe even lower than that. What are your thoughts? 877-943-9673. All right, let's go to Tampa and let's talk to Andrew. Andrew, welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show.
Hey, Patrick, how are you?
I'm great, Andrew. How can we help you today?
Well, first of all, I wanted to make a comment on the voting age issue.
Go right ahead.
I think that you have to be of at least an age where you can make an informed decision.
What age is that in your mind, Andrew?
In my mind, and again, I'm throwing out arbitrary numbers like you were saying, but in my mind, it's always been 18. But like you said, what's really the difference between 18 and 17 or 16? So I'm kind of contradicting myself with that.
Well, this is a dialogue. This is an open forum, Andrew. No, there are no wrong answers here. So let me ask you this: you remember Andrew at 18? Andrew, how old are you now, if you don't mind sharing?
I'm 35 years old.
Okay, so you're 17 years down the line from 18. Knowing what you know now at 35, do you feel you were at the point where you could make informed decisions at 18? Looking back on 18-year-old Andrew?
Looking back at 18-year-old Andrew, I wouldn't let him do anything.
It's an honest answer, Andrew. I appreciate that. I think a lot of people feel that way. I mean, I think about 18-year-old, Patrick, and if I look back at the 18-year-old version of me, it was a very stark world for me. It was black and white. There was right and wrong,
Right.
and there's very little gray. And I'll never forget, I had a great professor of economics at Lake Region High School named Dottie Krieger, who said to us, as you get older, that gray is going to continue to grow and that black and white is going to shrink. And I remember thinking, Mrs. Krieger, I appreciate your opinion, but you're wrong. I think in my world, it is always going to be black and white. And I'll be darned if she wasn't right. That gray starts to expand as you go on in life. So I do tend to agree with you, Andrew. I think there has to be the ability to make an informed decision, but I also think that's hard to generalize for the populace because you could find someone at 16 who's more responsible than someone who's 30. But at the end of the day, how do you police that based on individuals? I mean, you have to pass a law that applies to the populace in general. So I think that comes down to what age do we pick? And is that the reason that we picked 21 originally and 18 now? Because it's basically a best guess on when these people can make informed decisions.
Yeah, and 18 or 21 seems to be one of those catch-all ages, where everything is like, okay, at this age you are good to do whatever.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking at like sort of these benchmarks or landmark ages, do you know at what age your auto insurance typically drops? You reach a certain age and typically your auto insurance drops. Do you remember what that age is, Andrew?
Is that 25?
25. So, right. So if auto insurance is looking at us and actuarially, they see something at 24-year-olds and younger than 25-year-olds and older. So maybe we read into that. Should we raise the voting age to 25?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something to look at because if insurance companies are doing it, they're not doing it with no research.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. These insurance companies are highly motivated. They have a rationale behind setting it at 25. That is not an arbitrary number. And it's right, for all intents and purposes that 21 or 18 is sort of arbitrary or a best guess. We don't really know what the logic is. But with the insurance company setting it at 25, we know there's an actuarial science behind that. So, Andrew, great call. Do you have any other questions?
I do actually have a question.
Go ahead.
Right now, I'm involved in a family law case, and it's dragging on and everything. But the judge that is assigned to me for the law case.
Hey, Andrew, do me a favor for me. Don't say the judge's name if you don't mind. Okay.
Oh, okay. No, I won't say his name.
Okay. Go ahead with your story.
He has been, he was voted out in primaries. And so there will be a new judge taking over at the beginning of the year. As far as I know, that judge has not been assigned, nor have they even determined which judge is going to take over for my judge currently. Do you know when that normally takes place or what the process is or anything like that?
Andrew, do you currently have counsel representing you?
I do.
Yeah, I can't answer your question then. I mean, this is a really strict rule. If you've represented by an attorney, the only thing I can say is call your lawyer and ask your lawyer that question. They should be able to answer it relatively simply, and they can probably give you a better answer than I can. I don't do personally family law, and so I don't practice in front of a lot of family law
Probably a good
judges.
idea.
So your attorney should probably be able to tell you, yeah, my experience in this particular county's family courts, if a judge gets replaced, it takes X amount of time. But yeah, reach out to your attorney, Andrew, and they'll give you the best answer to that question. But thanks for the call about the voting age. That was some fascinating insight, Andrew.
Yeah, I appreciate it as well, and it was good talking to you.
And likewise, Andrew. Have a great Saturday. All righty, this is the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. If you want to be part of the show, maybe you have an opinion on the voting age. 877-943-9673. Call in now. Andrew hanging up opens up a line, so feel free to give us a call and express your opinion on whether the voting age should remain 18, drop to 16, go up to 21 or 25. Where do you think the voting age should be and why? 877-943-9673, or email me, Patrick at attorneypatricksmith.com. All right, let's go to Sarasota. Let's talk to Scott. Scott, welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show.
Well, thank you.
Hey,
How
Scott.
you doing today?
I'm great, Scott. How can we help?
All right. I was just thinking about that voting age thing, and to me, it seems crazy to lower it to 16.
Why does it seem crazy?
Because it just gives the Democrats more to cheat with, first off, and then today's 16-year-old kids, they don't want to do nothing. I don't understand. Like, you can't even get them to work. How are you going to get them to vote? I think it's just a tool that they want to use to cheat again. I don't think that they should do it. Leave it at 18.
So you see the fact that the Congresswoman Grace Ming from New York, who's suggesting lowering the voting age, her rationale behind it is that it brings more Democrats than Republicans into the voting pool.
Of course it does, because they get to write their children off and stuff now. I mean, I'm from Massachusetts originally, and I was up there at a cemetery one day a long time ago. This was like, everybody knows Democrats cheat. It's just like tolerated, which is kind of bogus. And I was in this cemetery, and there was this lady with a clipboard, and she was walking from tombstone to tombstone, writing all these names down. And I was like, what is going on here? What is she doing? And like the whole row, I sat there and watched her the whole row. And I walk up to her, and I was like, what? And I'm looking at her paper, and it's a voter registration paper. She's registering these people to vote.
That sounds like an urban legend, Scott. You're telling me you actually witnessed this happening?
I seen it, and I could not believe it.
Did you approach her about it?
Yeah, I approached her and asked her what she was doing, and she got flustered. And I seen the paper. It was a voter registration paper. She was filling out names on these things, and I was like, "Wow!" I was 16 years old. I'm 44 now, so that was a long time ago.
Wow! Did you report it to the supervisor of elections or anything like that?
No, I was too young. 16's too young.
You're not too young to report it. I mean, anybody can report a crime.
Report it too, Yeah, it was crazy, and I was a little, dumb.
So Scott says the age should not be lowered. Do you think the age should be raised, Scott?
I think 18 should be right. I think, because it kind of gives you something to look forward to after you're 16 and able to drive. The next step is vote. You know what I mean? I think it should be 18. I don't think they should change it.
So in your mind, the natural landmarks of sort of maturing are driver's license at 16, maybe a learner's permit at 15, driver's license at 16, then I get to vote and enter the draft at 18, and then 21 is the typical age where it's legal to do other things. But
you get your FID card at 18 too. So I mean, that's, if you're responsible enough for an FID card, why can't you vote?
So you think it's just wise because it's not dropping all the responsibility on these young people at once. So if you had at 16, all of a sudden you can drive and vote, maybe it's too much responsibility. Is kind of that what you're saying, Scott?
Kind of a little too much responsibility, yeah. And then you take like the next thing to look forward to, like from 16 to what? You 21, you know what I mean? 18 is kind of like a halfway. Oh, I'm almost there. I'm almost 21. You know, I can vote. You know.
Fair enough, Scott. We appreciate the call. Have a great Saturday. Okay.
All right, you too.
All right.
Appreciate the time.
Yes, sir. 877-943-9673. This is the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. I'm your host, Attorney Patrick Smith. If you want to be part of the conversation on voting ages here in the United States, we started the show talking about the Georgia Senate runoff between Raphael Warnock and Herschel Walker this Tuesday, December 6th, and just got me thinking about the voting age and whether or not the idea promoted by Congressman Ming out of New York to lower the voting age from 18 to 16 was a good idea, a bad idea. I mean, we certainly have precedent of lowering the voting age. We talked about how the 26th Amendment back in the 70s lowered it from 21 to 18. So a 3-year, Congressman Ming is suggesting just lowering it 2 more years, 18 to 16. So maybe you have a thought on that. Maybe you have any other legal question. We'll, of course, be happy to help you any way we can. 877-943-9673. And next, we're going to stay in Sarasota, and we're going to talk to Will. Will, welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show.
That's Bill.
Bill. Hey, Bill. How are you today?
Okay. All right. Thanks, Mr. Smith. Well, as I recall, they lowered the age from 21 to 18, using the rationale that if you're old enough to go fight for your country at 18, you're old enough to vote. I agree with that. I don't agree with lowering down to anything less than 17. I think it's just a ploy by the Democrats to try to get more people into their coffer.
So I'm going to guess, Bill, you're not a Democrat then.
No, not really. In my heart, I'm ultra conservative, but I don't always vote that way.
All right.
I look for the candidates, see what they're going to do.
Okay, now walk me through in your mind. You said ultra conservative. What are sort of the bullet points that make Bill ultra conservative?
Well, makes me an ultra conservative. When they start, like our president just started to, or recently started to dig into the oil reserves that we had, that was specifically put on the books in case of emergencies. He lowered it to, he emptied them out to lower the gas price at the pump to try to get some more votes, I imagine. That makes me an ultra-conservative. Also, the fact that I believe he could have helped Ukraine a little more than what he did. They asked him for aircraft and he wouldn't give it to them. And I think if he did, the Ukrainians would have handled it better than they're doing now. Even though they got Putin on the ropes, where he thought he'd be in and out in 2 weeks, and it's been almost a year. So that makes me an ultra conservative.
All right, Bill, and I'm just trying to connect all these dots. So Bill, the ultra conservative from Sarasota, who based on oil reserves here in the United States as treated by the current administration and the current administration's response and foreign policy to the war in Ukraine, that sort of politically minded person thinks that the voting age should stay 18 or possibly get lowered to 17, but no lower than 17. Why do you think lowering it to 17 might be a good idea?
Well, I think it wouldn't be effective. I think all they're doing is trying to get more Democrats into the caucus.
Okay. No, I see your point now. So you're saying if in a world where we are going to agree to lower it, like per Congressman Ming's suggestion, we'll compromise with you, and instead of 16, we'll give you 17 as a way to sort of circle them in a little bit and compromise any potential overrun by the Democrats lowering it to 16. Is that kind of what you're saying, sort of in a spirit of compromise, Bill?
Well, no. As far as that goes, there's one issue. I think it should stay at 18.
Okay.
Don't lower it any more than what it is. And the reason we did, as I mentioned before, was because if you're old enough to fight and die for your country, you're old enough to vote for it.
All righty. Well, Bill, we appreciate the call. Thanks for listening.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Bye.
All right, 877-943-9673. Bill hanging up opens up a line. Call in with your opinion on voting rights and whether or not the age should be lowered, raised, stay exactly the same. This is the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. To join us today, 877-943-9673. 877-943-9673. Or email us your question, patrick@attorneypatricksmith.com. All right, let's stay in Sarasota. Let's talk to John. John, welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. How are you today, John?
I'm doing well. How you doing, sir?
I'm great, John. How can I help?
I'm totally against it. The left has indoctrinated the school systems, which are not public schools. They're government schools. They've been doing that for decades, and they want indoctrinated students, young kids, to vote their way. This is just another leftist Marxist idea. It is crazy. I mean, when I was 16, I was not prepared, to vote and handle that. 18 is the age. And in regards to compromise, you don't compromise with the left. The left has to be defeated. No
Okay.
compromise.
All right, so John, let's take your temperature on the other end of the spectrum. What about raising the voting age? What if people said, hey, back in 1971, we made a mistake with the 26th Amendment. We need to reverse it and take the age back to 21. What do you think about that?
I feel 18 is the right age, as other people have said, and I feel also if you're able to fight for your country and give up your life for your country, you should be able to vote.
Well,
I'm against, I'll tell you what I'm against. I'm against felons voting. I'm against people who are on government programs, welfare, food stamps voting. I think it should be taxpayers, people who contribute to the country, not the people who are just sponging off the country.
now, to go back, and I'm just going to play devil's advocate because that's what we do as lawyers sometimes. So, John, you just said you don't compromise with the left, you defeat them, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. So, presuming that's true, do you think it is a blow to the left to raise the age to 21, or do you think it's more of a compromise with them keeping it at 18?
I think that it would be a blow to them because at 21, you know more than you did at 18.
So why not support raising it back to 18? If you are raising it back to 21, if you think 21 is going to lead to less Democratic votes, and per your own admission, the Democrats have to be and the liberals have to be defeated, not compromised with them.
Yes.
Why would you compromise with them and leave it at 18? Why wouldn't you fight to raise it back to 21?
Well, again, because if you can serve in the military and give up your life, you should have the right to vote.
All right. So for you, it's that military service. If you are serving in the military and have the right to serve in the military at a certain age, by definition, that gives you a right to vote.
Yes. Yeah. If you can give up your life, absolutely.
That logic
Absolutely.
makes sense to me, John. That logic makes a lot of sense. You have a chance to vote for those making the policies that send you abroad as a potential member of the service. So that makes a lot of sense, John.
Well, let me ask you, what about people who are not paying taxes, on welfare, don't want to work? I don't think that they should be able to vote. I think you should be someone who contributes to the country, not just someone who's sponging off it also.
I hear the spirit of your comment, John, and I think that fundamentally I probably disagree with that only because I think you can't blanket the country like that. I mean, I think you get this sort of right-wing image of what people on welfare look like, and there's this sort of Madison Avenue version of that, and I don't think that's certainly not every person on welfare, and I don't think it's most. I think there are people who are. This world can be an extremely hard place, and welfare does have its place to help those people who fall on hard times, maybe fell victim. I mean, we've had callers to the show who fell victim to COVID and had bills pile up. I mean, you can go back and listen to those archives. Though I don't think those people deserve to lose their right to vote just because they fell on hard economic times. So I think what you're sort of alluding to is this sort of systematic milking of the system. And I think all politicians sort of want that. I think everyone agrees with that in spirit, John. But I think in a world where, sort of like this analysis, if you had to let one guilty man go free, or if you had to let one innocent man die, which would you choose? It's sort of that terrible decision you have to make here. If you were to accidentally support someone who didn't deserve it through welfare versus not supporting a family that needed that critical help, especially around this time of the year, around the holidays, which mistake would you want to make? For me, it's not even close. I'd rather support someone who didn't deserve it than ever risk not helping someone that needed that help, John.
Yeah. No, you're correct. Like, people with medical issues, you're 100% correct. The people who don't want to get up and go to work, a lot of people work 2 jobs to make ends meet, and some people don't want to do anything. So, no, you know what? You're 100% correct in your argument. And, I don't disagree with what you're saying.
Well, John, we appreciate the call. You enjoy the rest of your Saturday, okay?
You too, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All righty, 877-943-9673. This is the Attorney Patrick Smith Show, and John's opening up a line right now. So give us a call to express your opinion on the voting age, 877-943-9673. And you can call in and tell us what you think the voting age should be. Is it right at 18? Should it be higher at 21? Lower at 16? Maybe you think it should be 8? Whatever. Call in with your thought on what the voting age should be, 877-943-9673. And before we go to a very patient audience, Sarasota, I want to give you an update on our short-term rental saga we're continuing to track in the Indian Rocks Beach area. For those of you not familiar, it's sort of come up with the signs that have popped up in the Indian Rocks Beach area, homesnothotels.org. And we had on the show a few weeks back, John Fansteel, who's part of that organization. And we were talking about sort of the debates and the issues with short-term rentals in residential communities and some of the safety concerns. The city of Indian Rocks Beach held a special commission meeting a few weeks back and basically let residents come out and voice their opinions for a few hours. There is going to be an additional meeting. The newest meeting on the Airbnb controversy in Indian Rocks Beach will be on December 13th at 7 p.m. So in Indian Rocks Beach there, you can attend that meeting December 13th, 7 p.m. And you can get the latest and greatest and voice your opinion on the short-term rental controversy. And it's actually not just in Indian Rocks Beach. We're talking about that because that's sort of my neighborhood and where I noticed it first. But this is sort of a national controversy, and other beachside towns are handling it differently. So that we're keeping you informed and up to date. And if anything revelatory comes from that meeting, we will be happy to let you know. And I'm going to do my very best to be in attendance at that meeting. So 877-943-9673 to talk to us today. This is the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. Now let's go back to our very patient Audie in Sarasota. Audie, thank you for your patience and welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show.
Good morning, Patrick. Thank you.
How are you, Audie?
I'm well, thank you.
Good. How can we help you?
I have a comment about it being not an issue of partisanship, but an issue of education.
Walk us down that road, Audie.
I'd like to point out that in Sarasota County, the Supervisor of Elections has a program that allows 16-year-olds to register. They can't vote yet, but they can work in the Supervisor of Elections office so they can learn about the whole voting process and the importance of it. And then they're really ready to vote at 18. So I think that's a great system that we have here that is probably not available elsewhere. And we need it because I don't believe that kids in school, whether it's public or private, are educated with regard to what civic responsibility is. Civics isn't even taught in most public schools anymore. And it's also a point that when that amendment was passed, we still had a draft. So there was a very strong argument for allowing younger kids to vote because they could be drafted. They had to go fight for their country. So they had to. They didn't have a choice.
So, Audie, you're saying that in sort of, stop, instead of looking at it like a snapshot at the 26th Amendment, basically looking at it as a response to the draft for the Vietnam War. And that would make sense timing-wise because this was 71. And you're saying that because of political pressures about the draft, they compromised and said, well, if you can draft us at 18, and this is sort of going back to John's point, if you can serve your country at 18, you ought to be able to vote. So you're saying that the 26th Amendment was in response to pressures surrounding the draft.
I'm sure that played a role in it.
I wasn't there. Yeah. I mean, I was born in 81, so this is a decade before I even existed. Were you alive in 71, Audie?
I wasn't very conscious, but I was alive.
You weren't very conscious. I don't think we want to share the unpacking of that, Audie. But yeah, feel free to, if you have any insight as to why you think that was. I mean, that certainly fits. Those puzzle pieces seem to fit together. That would be a compromise. So to that point, is there anything that the government and politically pressure-wise could be done to pressure the government to change the voting age again, one way or the other? Do you see any political issue pressing on the government now the same way the draft did back in the late 60s and early 70s?
I do not. And that's why I say it's really an issue of education.
I think you're spot on.
We used to have eighth grade civics, and we used to have field trips to the state capitol, field trips to Washington, D.C.
Do you remember
where children in school learned a lot about the value of their country?
Do you remember
and now
a program
we're
called?
Not taught that anymore.
There was a great program called Boys State. Did you ever hear of that program?
No, not having been a boy.
Well, there was a girls' state too. But this was a program basically where in high school, you would get tapped to participate in this 3 or 4 day long program up in Tallahassee. And maybe someone out there listening knows. Maybe you are a high school student and you recently were chosen for Boys State or Girls State. But this was a great program where you go up and you actually play the role of a state senator. And the big competition is to try to run and win the governorship. And there's actually, I think, a scholarship prize that goes with that if you pull that off. But this was a great education in state politics and the importance of voting. So I agree with you on that. And I think you're right. I think it's a matter of educating people, not just the issues surrounding voting, but how important voting is and how it is the lifeblood of our constitutional republic. So, Audie, great point. Appreciate the call. Any additional points?
No, that was just it. It's about education.
All righty, Audie. We appreciate it.
Are you an readiness.
Are you an educator, by the way, Audie?
I was for many years. I'm retired now.
I was going to say my experience from doing live radio is when people call in to talk about education, they're usually current or former educators. Thank you for your years of service as an educator, Audie.
Thank you, Patrick.
Alrighty.
Have a great day.
You too. All righty. This is the Attorney Patrick Smith Show, 877-943-9673. So sort of our takeaways so far. Some people thinking the voting age politically driven to increase or decrease the number of certain partisan voters. Other people's thinking that it has to do with your service to your country and it should be anchored around that. And of course, there you go. You had Audie telling us that it's education driven and it needs to be driven by when people are educated on the importance of voting and the power that lies in voting. So 877-943-9673. Give us a call now. Express your opinion on the voting age or any other legal question. 877-943-9673 or email me, Patrick at attorneypatricksmith.com. And again, to reach us at the law office during the week, if you want to schedule your complimentary consultation in Clearwater, Sarasota, Sun City Center, Claremont, the Villages, or if you want to book us for one of our speaking engagements, we're booking a lot of speaking engagements right now. So feel free to give us a call and we will be happy to get your club, group, organization booked for us to come out and speak on a topic of your choosing. The office line to schedule us as a speaker or to schedule your complimentary consultation, 877-756-6764. Again, that toll-free number to any of the office locations to schedule your appointment or to book us for an event, 877-754-6764. And of course, you're always able to email me directly, Patrick at attorneypatricksmith.com. All right, let's go back to Sarasota. Let's talk to Joanne. Joanne, welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show.
Good morning.
How's Joanne today?
I'm fine, thank you, and I hope you are as well.
I'm doing great, Joanne. How can we help you?
Well, right now you gave me an idea about suggesting you for to speak down here in the Meadows.
I'd love to.
Yeah, I'm going to suggest it.
Well, I'll look forward to that. I appreciate the thought, Joanne. Thank you so much.
Okay, regarding the voting, it's a privilege, not a given, I think. And you should be a citizen. But I'm reflecting back when my boy was 18. No way, no how was he ready to make that selection. And we keep hearing, well, if you're old enough to fight for your country, you're old enough to vote. And as I said, I think it's a privilege, and I'm very involved. Let's put it that way.
So I hear you saying you're sort of the opposite end of the spectrum, where John, our earlier caller, who called in and said, if you can serve your country, you should be able to vote. You're saying that there's some other meter that measures. Now I hear you say it's a privilege. It actually is a constitutionally protected right, though.
Yes, it is.
So
but it's also a privilege.
no. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm saying both of these things can coexist. It is a constitutionally protected right that is a cherished privilege that many, many men and women have shed blood to make sure that we can continue to celebrate that. So
here's my caveat.
Go ahead.
If the young men and women are enrolled in the military, they should be given the right to vote.
So in your world, there's a distinction here. Now, this is the first caller to suggest this, where it's not based on age alone, it's based on some other factor. So you can vote at 18 if, all right, let's change that fact. Is there something that someone could do at 16 in your mind, Joanne, that would give them, say you had a super intelligent 16-year-old who got enrolled in undergraduate university at 16?
No, I don't think so. It's called life experience. And your previous caller was discussing education. Now, back in the dark ages, when I went to school, we pledged the flag every morning before we went in class.
Some schools still do that.
Well, they're few and far between.
Yeah, no, some schools, I think they're mostly private. Now, I don't think state schools do it. Public schools, I don't think do it. But you're right. I remember, growing up in Polk County, going to Boswell Elementary, and every day you'd have the principal's announcements, and then you'd stand and say the pledge, and we'd actually sing a song. And it was either the national anthem, My Country 'Tis of Thee, America the Beautiful, some patriotic song. And, I'm just now remembering that. Joanne, you're reminding me of that. And I think that definitely had an impact on me, just having that daily dose of patriotism.
But notice that you use the word state schools. And to me, that right there has already changed the thought about how these schools function. They have been manipulated so badly. I mean, I'm a very senior citizen.
Mm-hmm. Now, the late and great Rush Limbaugh used to call them. Do you remember what Rush used to call public schools?
I don't remember, but I did listen to him faithfully.
Yeah, he used to call them government re-education institutes.
Oh, right. You're right.
And I don't know that I fully agree with that. But at the same time, there's definitely a stark difference between private schools and public schools. And, and it's definitely getting worse. I think the gap or the divide between those two is getting more and more severe. And I think that's going to eventually come to the head for whomever is governor for the great state of Florida to address that ever-growing gap. But
both political parties, if they're interested in doing what's right for this country, we need to, and I did it personally, brought young politicians to dinners to meet with the senior people who are involved in the political party. I think we need to teach our children. We don't teach them anymore.
So Joanne in Sarasota is hosting Jeffersonian dinners.
Oh, Joanne?
Yeah.
You talking about myself?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You're down there in Sarasota just minding your own business and hosting Jeffersonian dinners with local politicians.
Yes, I did do that before I had a couple of strokes.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry to hear about your strokes, Joanne, but as soon as you can, if you can get back to that, I think that's amazing. And I think that's wonderful. You have the pull politically to do that. Keep doing that.
Well, at the time I did.
Yeah. Well, if you can do it then, you can do it now,
Joanne. I
Joanne.
was an officer in a political party, and then we had dinners, and I brought them in. Yeah.
Well, that's wonderful. Joanne, if you decide to do another one, you let me know, and I'll see that you get some politicians there, okay?
Okay, and I will try to get you down here to speak to us.
I can't wait for it, Joanne. Thanks for calling in.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All righty, 877-943-9673. That's your live and local number. This is the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. If you want to be part of the show, 877-943-9673. All right, let's go to Clearwater. Let's talk to Lacey. Lacey, welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show.
Hi.
Hey, Lacey. How can we help?
Yeah, I just wanted to comment on the voting age.
Go ahead. What's your comment, Lacey?
Well, I think 18 is just fine. I think if you can serve your country, then you can vote for your country.
So you and John are in the same boat on this. For you, it's service driven. Now, what do you think about what Audie was saying, that back in the 70s, and Lacey, do you mind? How old are you?
26.
Okay, so you weren't alive in the 70s.
No.
I'm doing the math, and wow. Okay, all right, I'm getting old. All right, so
90.
at the end of the day, back in 71, it was on the heels of the sort of the wind down of the Vietnam War, where the draft was quite controversial, and Audie made the point that that was sort of the main political pressure for lowering the age from 21 to 18. This idea, if I can be shipped off to die for my country under a war I don't agree with, shouldn't I have the ability to vote different leadership in that reflects my beliefs? And do you agree with that, first of all, Lacey?
Yeah, I think if you can serve your country, then you should be able to vote.
Okay. And then earlier I asked the question of, do you see any political pressures now on our government that would shift the age either upwards to 21 or down to 16? I'm going to ask you the question, Lacey, because you are the proponent for keeping it at 18. Do you see any political pressures applying to the government that would coerce them to maintain status quo at 18?
I think, I don't know, how do I answer? I think it kind of doesn't matter which party you're going for. There's going to be benefits to both sides. You're going to have young, impressionable people, but it can go both ways. So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I think that your call suggesting 18 makes the great point. And I'm going to take the opportunity to make this point, that it's about what pressures are applying to the government. I think Audie hit it out of the park, suggesting that the draft is the reason it dropped under the 26th Amendment in 71 from 21 to 18. And the reason why I think it'll stay at 18 now, why I think Congresswoman Ming's idea of lowering it to 16 will fail, is exactly what we started with at the top of the show. You are having a runoff in Georgia. That's how politically divided the country is right now. And then the Senate can potentially be 50-50. And I think because the country is so politically divided right now, that I don't think you'll see any major change one way or the other until one side gets an upper hand on the other. And so because of that gridlock, so to speak, because of this massive division, and people say it all the time, the country's more divided than ever. I think the evidence shows us that. The Georgia runoff shows us that. The Senate seat count shows us that. So I think that because of that, Lacey, I think you're right. I think it stays at 18.
Yeah, I think a divided country is not a strong country, so people need to get it together.
Well,
be more independent.
And that's a fair point. And I think that sort of, nationally, within our interstate politics, we're very divided. But I think internationally, when you look at Republicans and Democrats politically, we're right next to each other. I mean, So internationally, the division is sort of minimized. It's only when we put it under the microscope of just the United States that we see these glaring differences. And that's a fantastic point as well. Lacey, thanks for calling in.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, have a great day.
Thank you.
All right, this is the Attorney Patrick Smith Show, 877-943-9673. I'm your host, Attorney Patrick Smith. Next, we're going to Steve in Largo. Steve, welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show.
Howdy. The voting age should be 25 because it's not until 25 the human brain is fully developed. The reason men are drafted at 18 because they're physically entering their prime and they're able to endure the rigors of combat, military service. Furthermore, they're malleable. They're easily taught and they're easily brought. Most of them, anyway.
So Steve says we'll change it to 25 because the insurance companies see something in 25, you see something in 25, and what you see is the human brain is fully developed at 25.
I didn't mention the insurance company. It's been a biological established standard for many years.
I mentioned the insurance company, and that's because earlier in the show we were talking about how actuarially the insurance company runs this analysis and lowers your insurance rates typically when you hit the age of 25. So I was saying that sort of logic dovetails with what you're saying. Maybe this maturation of the brain at 25 supports the reason why insurance company drop your rates when you hit 25.
And the reason that people go and drafted when they're 18 because their brains are malleable.
All right, Steve.
Anybody who suggests like Ming, that it should be lowered to 16, should be marginalized by both parties.
All right, Steve, I got to let you go because I got to get to a very patient Peggy, okay? Appreciate you calling in. All righty, let's go to Peggy in Pinellas Park. Peggy, I have about 30 seconds. How can we help? Peggy, you there? All right, Yumiko, put Peggy back on hold and I'll talk to her off the air. So this is the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. You can call in next week, 877-943-9673. That's your live and local number to call in, be part of our show next week. 877-943-9673, or to reach us at the office during the week, 877-754-6764, 877-754-6764, or email me, Patrick at attorneypatricksmith.com. And good luck to Team USA, who takes on the Netherlands in the FIFA World Cup at 10 a.m. this morning. Everyone stay safe, God bless, and go Team USA.